Brahmin initiate disciple of Nitya Leela Pavishta Ashtotar Shat Shri Mad Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj in the ISKCON tradition. He lives in Gainesville, Florida, US. His Guru Maharaj instructed him to compose the transcendental writings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada as it is into simple Hindi poetry. He has taken his instructions and blessings and trying to fulfill his desire. He has already completed the translation of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sri Gita Sugita, Sri Ishopanishad, Sri Updeshamrit, Sri Narad Bhakti Sutra, and currently translating Srimad Bhagavatam. He has completed the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam up to the 10th canto as Sri Bhagavad Kathamrit. His poetry is composed in Doha, Chopai, and Pad and has a touch of melodious Awadhi language. Materially, he is a full-time professor in the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology at the University of Florida, Gainesville, where he teaches cancer biology to medical and PhD students and performs research on the development of chemotherapeutic agents for the treatment of colon and breast cancer. He obtained BSc and MSc degrees from the University of Allahabad and PhD degree from Punjab University, Chandigarh. With this, I would like to once again welcome Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Today, Prabhuji will be enlightening us from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, slokas 17 to 22. With this, I would like to hand over the call over to you, Prabhuji. Thank you for accepting our invitation and looking forward to hearing from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. I know it was a little too much. I don't really deserve for any one of these things. It's simply the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. That's all. If there is anything, that is his blessings and mercy. I don't have any contribution in these things. So I will begin the class, and generally I'm very used to speaking in Hindi, and I used to give Hindi classes. Today, Harilila Prabhu has asked me to give the class in English, so I'm going to try and see how that goes. So with that, Om Jnanatimирindasya Jnanayanjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshe Tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tuse Nama Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Shri Radha Kant Namostute. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Cha Kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. First of all, I would like to offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, Bhagwan Shri Jagannath Balabhadra Subhadra Maharani, Bhagwan Shri Lakshmipati Nrsimhadev, and then unto the lotus feet of Mahavadanya, Karuna Varunalaya, Bhaktavancha Kalpataru, Kali Yuga Avatar, Bhagwan Shri Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev, and all of his associates. Then I would like to offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Ravinda Swami Srila Prabhupada, and then to my beloved Gurudev, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, and then all the assembled devotees, whosoever is joining through this wonderful media, either through Zoom, YouTube, or whatsoever media they have available. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to His Grace Hari Lila Prabhuji, who kindly invited me for this session today. And definitely my sincere thanks and gratitudes are to Prem Priya Padma Mataji, who has been organizing this program so effortlessly and so wonderfully, not only one day, 2 days, but since past 3 years, not only once in a day, once in a week, actually, many times, twice and thrice a week. So this is really wonderful contribution she is giving, and I'm sure that she has already given the ticket to Golok Vrindavan Dham, and our best wishes are with her. So with that, I think I don't want to take too much of time, because I think I have 5 verses to cover today. So we are going to discuss today Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5th, verses 17 to 22, I guess, right? So this is a Karma Yoga in action. So in the previous chapter, Lord Krishna, actually, if you look at the setting of the Bhagavad Gita as such, then you will find that our brilliant speaker, Bhagwan Shri Krishna, has laid down this subject matter so scientifically, so nicely, that you can, if we start reading Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1 and all the way through, then you will find that how nicely he has linked each chapter to another, and how he conveyed his message, and how he pursued us. In this context, although he was pursuing Shri Arjunji Maharaj, but we have to understand that it is not really for Arjun. Arjun is a liberated soul. He is an eternal Parshad of Lord Shri Krishna. So this Bhagavad Gita was not for him. It is for us. So the thing which he has already spoken in chapter 2, to begin with the understanding of Bhagavad Gita, is that who we are, what is our actual constitutional position, whether we are this body or we are the eternal soul. So if we have understood that concept in 2nd chapter, then the rest of the Bhagavad Gita just follows and implicates different thoughts and ideas to affirm that realization. We are going to see even in these 5 verses, same thing. Again, Krishna is mentioning. Again, he is trying to tell us what is the difference in us, in our surroundings, in whatsoever realizations we have, whether they are the true realizations, false realizations, and how we should perceive them. And once we perceive them, then what will be the resultant of that? Where we are going to end up with those things. So the first thing in the in the beginning of today's discussion, the Krishna is in this shloka 17 is going to tell us what is the path of liberation. So he has already given us lot of clues, lot of things which we need to do in order to gain the full knowledge about ourselves. Once we have achieved a certain understanding, now then he is proceeding further and he is giving very subtle formula how we can liberate ourselves. So when we say liberation ourselves, what is ourselves? Who is going to be liberated? Who is bound? What is this bondage? Those things we are briefly going to understand from these verses. Actually, the first verse. Other 4 verses are going to tell us once the person is liberated, then what are his characteristics? How we can understand that a person is liberated. So let's begin this shloka 17. Tad buddhayastadaatmanastannishthastat gacchante punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. Tad buddhaya, those whose intelligence is always in the Supreme. Tad atmana, those whose minds are always in Supreme. Tad nishtha, those whose faith is only meant for the Supreme. Tad parayana, who have completely taken shelter of him. Gachanti, go. And apunaha avrittim, to liberation. Gyan, by knowledge. Nirdhuta, cleansed. Kalmashah, misgivings. So the translation of this verse is, when one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuse are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. The beautiful explanation and purports has been given for all these wonderful verses by our beloved Srila Prabhupada. And if you read those purports, then you don't need any explanation for no one. Prabhupada has given so much explanation for each verse that if we read them with attention and focus, then we don't need to go anywhere. That's why Prabhupada used to say that if I'm not here, don't worry about it. Don't feel separation from me. My books are there. If you just associate yourself with my books, you will be associating directly with me. And that is 100% true. No problem, no difference in him and his books. If you read these purports now, so Prabhupada is saying the supreme transcendental truth is Lord Krishna. That's it. One thing which we need to understand, that the supreme transcendental truth is Lord Shri Krishna in this whole material world. The whole Bhagavad Gita centers around the declaration that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the version of all Vedic literature. Paratattva means the supreme reality, who is understood by the knowers of the Supreme as Brahmana, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Paratattva and the description of the Brahmana, Paramatma, and Bhagavan has been given in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11 by Suta Goswami Maharaj, where he says, Vadanti tat tattva vidassa tattvam yajgyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. The meaning is that all the tattvavid, jnanis who know Shri Krishna tattvata, means in full. They understand that Krishna in three forms: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So all these three are the separate manifestations of the same Supreme Person, same Krishna. So further on, Prabhupada is going to further explain actually this Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan Sthiti. And he is saying that Bhagwan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the last word in the Absolute. That means there is nothing beyond him. So he is the Adi Purush, he is the beginning, and he is the end. Everything is in between. There is nothing beyond him. The last word in the Absolute is Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagwan. Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. There is nothing more than that. The Lord says, Matta partaram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. So, to Arjun, Krishna is saying that there is nothing in this world which is not related to me, which is the every manifestation, hey Arjun, which you are seeing in this material world or beyond the material world, comes out from me, is related to me. Like the beads, they are strung in the string and it makes the whole mala, rosary. Similarly, this entire world is woven in the string, in a thread of my Shakti, of my energy. So that means everything is manifested by me. There is nothing beyond me. I am the absolute truth. And Srila Prabhupada is using the word that there is nothing beyond this absolute truth, Krishna. Then he further says that impersonal Brahman is also supported by Krishna. Brahmano hi pratishtham amritasya abhyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhaikasya antikasya cha. Gita 14.27. So Lord Krishna himself is explaining that the Brahma, which people generally consider as a separate entity, and they say that this whole universe is dependent upon the Brahma, Brahma Jyoti, and the manifestation of this entire universe is the cause of Brahma Jyoti. But Lord Krishna here is saying that Brahma Jyoti is basically based upon me. It is my effulgence. And this whole, my energy, my Shakti as a Brahma is pervading into the entire world and even into the smallest atoms. That energy is there. And that energy is the pratishtha of that energy, the existence of that energy, the existence of that Brahma, the existence of that Jyoti is on me, which is considered as a amritasya, abhyasya, shashvatasya, dharmasya, sukhaikasya, aikantikasya. All these are the different qualifications of the Brahma. So all these qualifications which people think that are to that independent Brahma is not true. Krishna is saying that it is my effulgence. It is based upon me. It comes out from me. So Brahma and Paramatma, which is situated in every living entity's heart, is also another manifestation of Lord Krishna. In Bhagavatam, there are so many examples given to clarify this situation. One example I'm just going to cite briefly, that one time Naradji Maharaj, as you know, that he used to visit Sri Dwarka Dham mostly all the time. So he was coming to Sudharma Sabha one day. So people saw that some very, very shining round object is falling from the sky. And that object was very far from the site of the Sudharma assembly people. So they saw that as a round object, very shining, effulgent object is falling from the sky towards the Dwarka. When it came little closer, then they saw that there is something moving within that shining object. And when Naradji came and he came to the Sudharma Sabha, then everyone saw, oh, it is our dear Narad. So that way, when we are seeing just the Jyoti, the effulgence of the Lord, and our understanding is only up to that point, then it is just like a sun, just like a Naradji Maharaj, who was far away from there, and he was seeing as a red ball falling into that assembly. When he came little closer, then it became little bit more clear that there is something, some moving object is there. And when he came very close, full understanding, full knowledge, visual knowledge came, then people saw that it is Naradji. Similarly, everything is correct. All the people's thought process is correct. Whosoever is seeing Naradji from a distance as a shining object, he is also correct, because that's how he can perceive. And the person who is seeing that some moving object is there, he is also correct, because that's how he can see. But when the person sees the Naradji right in front of him within the assembly, then he knows that, yes, the perfect knowledge is there. It is the Naradji. So depending upon our understanding, our knowledge, the Lord is manifested in 3 different forms, but he is still the one Supreme Person, Lord Shri Krishna. Prabhupada says further, therefore, in all ways, Krishna is the supreme reality, one whose mind, intelligence, faith, and refuse. See, 4 qualities are given here. Mind, intelligence, faith, and refuse are always in Krishna, or in other words, one who is fully in Krishna consciousness is undoubtedly washed clean of all misgivings and is in perfect knowledge in everything concerning transcendence. This is just a powerful statement. This statement only is going to be the further description of all the discussion which we are going to see today. A Krishna conscious person can thoroughly understand that there is a duality, that is simultaneous identity and individuality in Krishna. Veda Ved, Achinta Veda Ved. This is our Gaudiya philosophy. That's what here Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, simultaneous identity and individuality. Equipped with each transcendental knowledge, one can make a steady progress on the path of liberation. So 4 things Krishna has mentioned here. The first thing, intelligence, mind, faith, and surrenderance, refuse, parayan. So how one can take these 4 different processes, that's what we are going to discuss now. So he already told, Krishna already told, that if you attain the single-minded, single-pointed perfection on all these 4 aspects which I am telling you, my dear Arjun, then you will get liberated. So liberation means the one who goes to the supreme abode has not to come back, has not to take again birth and death cycle. So how it can be controlled, that is the main discussion point where I want to spend a little bit time on these things. First thing which Krishna is mentioning is Tat Buddhaya, intelligence. So one has to think about any process which you want to do. First of all, you have to apply your intelligence, your buddhi. If we look our subtle elements in our body, then it is buddhi, man, then all senses, and on the above is the ahankar. So they are the shuttle, fine, finer, finest. So leaving the ahankar apart, if we start from buddhi, which is the discussion of this shloka, so buddhi is the finest, then is the mind, which is the finer, and then senses, they are the fine. So that means the buddhi has the control on the mind, and mind has a control on the senses. But we see it is not so true, because the mind becomes the dictator of the buddhi. Although buddhi is superior than mind, buddhi should be controlling the mind, but it does not happen all the time. And when it does not happen, that is the point when the material bondage begins. So Krishna is suggesting that you need to understand, you need to know the importance of the buddhi. Don't ignore it. Because if you want to learn anything, if you want to, suppose you are in a school and you have a desire to become certain thing in your life, you want to become a doctor, you want to become an attorney, you want to become so many things, engineers or professors or so on, then you need to know the process. And that process will come from your intelligence. You are intellectually going to select a proper subject that will lead you to your proper direction. If you are not applied your intelligence in choosing the subject matter, you cannot follow the goal of your life. Suppose you want to become a doctor and you have taken the subject matter of engineering, you will never reach to the medical school because you have not taken the proper route. You have not read the proper books. So your intelligence, although there it is there, but you applied it into a wrong direction, not to the direction of your goal. So your mind should be trained that I am not this body. That is the first thing you have to train your mind. Your mind should know the distinction between the Atma Buddhi and the Dehatma Buddhi. So Deha Buddhi and Atma Buddhi. The bodily conception and the Atman conception needs to be very clear to begin our spiritual journey. So once that becomes clear, then it comes the question that if the intelligence is very clear, then why there is a problem? The problem comes to the mind, which is although inferior to the buddhi, but becomes a dictator in a long run. Why it becomes a dictator? Because I will just discuss this little bit further. If you go to Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 13th chapter, verses 25 to 26. This is the verse when Lord takes Hansa avatar, incarnation of a Hansa. So Hansa Bhagwan, when he took the incarnation, he gave instructions to Sankadik Rishis along with Brahmaji. Sankadik Rishis asked several questions related to spiritual life from Brahmaji, but he could not answer them. Then finally, Lord has appeared to answer those questions. So one of the question and answer when Sankadik asked Bhagwan when he appeared, when they saw him in front of him, eye to eye, then first question was, "Oh Bhavan, aap kaun hai? Who you are?" Then Lord, just to explain who is he, two chapters actually he explained. He explained in a great detail who he is. So if we really need to understand in depth the Bhagavad Gita, we have to go to 11th Skandha 11th, because 11th Skandha is nothing but the full description of Bhagavad Gita. each and every verse which Bhagwan has spoken in Bhagavad Gita has further explained to Uddhavji Maharaj in a great detail. So here he is saying, so the question is that when the intelligence is in knowledge that it is the Atman, not the body, which is eternal, full bliss, Sachidanand, then why it is entangled with this material world? It is due to the mind. And what mind is doing? Mind, with the time immemorial, has subdued our intelligence. And how he did that, and how we can control on the mind. So Lord Hansa is telling to Sankadik that it is not very easy to take the control over mind, because we are saying here that Atma Buddhi and Dehatma Buddhi, we have to keep it separate. And Dehatma Buddhi is nothing but the engagement with the material nature, because we want to enjoy. Who wants to enjoy? It is not Atman who is wanting to enjoy. It is mind who wants to enjoy. So what is the relationship of mind and this material nature? That's what is explained here. And as long as the mind is attached with the material nature, it is very difficult. You know, the Arjun has already asked this question to Lord Krishna before in chapter 2, that mind is so chanchala, so frickled. How we can control? Even the hurricane can be controlled, but not the mind. Lord Krishna has given a very good answer over there, that abhyasen and vairagena cha, abhyas by repeated action and renunciation, one can control the mind. What is the renunciation? What is the abhyas? What is the practice which he is talking about? Here in this verse we can see, Guneshwa vishate cheto gunaschetasi cha praja jivasya deha ubhayam gunascheto madatmana. Bhagavan Shri Hans is saying that, my dear sons, the mind has a natural proclivity to enter into the material sense objects. Now understand this very important thing. Lord is saying that from time immemorial, mind has been engrossed, has been invaded into the material objects. And then he says, and similarly, the sense objects enter into the mind, and the objects, sense objects, material nature, material objects, they enter into the mind. In other words, the mind and sense objects, they have become one. How we can understand that? And if the two things has become one, like if the milk and water has been poured together and mixed together, how you can separate the milk and water? We cannot do that. So you need very specific intelligence, like a Hans. So you know that swan can separate milk and water, not ordinary birds. So we have to develop the intelligence up to the point, to the swan, to the Hans, where we can separate Maya from mind, material nature from mind. How it can be done, and how it is like, and the Lord further is saying that, but both these material mind and the sense objects are merely designations that cover the spirit soul, who is part and parcel of me. So soul nothing has to do with these things, as it has been said so many times. So it is the mind and the material objects. They both are mixed to each other, they are entangled to each other, they are engrossed to each other, and they are covering this soul. That poor soul, Krishna is saying, that although it is part and parcel of me, but it is totally into the influence of mind and sense objects. So how to separate the mind and sense objects? That is the question. Can it be separated? And until we cannot separate them, we cannot really apply the proper intelligence into the further pathway of spiritual realization or spiritual advancement. So mind has to teach, mind has to slowly train, intelligence has to slowly train our mind that this object, material object, which you are entangling is not permanent. It is not eternal. It is not shashwat. It is going to be vanished. It is temporary. It has, this knowledge has to be given to the mind. This training has to be given to the mind again and again and again. This is the reason we are hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita every day, every day, every day, just to train our mind so that we can understand that we are not this body, we are not this body. So we hear every day, but we forget it. So we have to apply it. Like one rishi was going in a forest and he saw lots of pigeons. They were sitting on a tree. And he knew that, he saw behind him that the hunter is coming. So he wanted to warn those pigeons. So he taught them that Bahelia is coming, hunter is coming. He will come and spread the net. In Hindi, if you say, it's very nice. Bahelia aa raha hai, जाल बिछाएगा, दाना डालेगा, फंसना मत. ठीक? बहेलिया आएगा, जाल बिछाएगा, दाना डालेगा, फंसना मत. So the hunter will come. He will spread his net, will throw some charming seeds in there, but do not go there. Do not get yourself entangled there. If you will go there, if you are lured with that grain, you are going to be trapped. So Mahatma, after giving this instruction, he went to his path, and later on Bahelia came. He spread his net, and when Mahatma came back, he saw that all those birds, they were trapped in the net, and they were saying, what they were saying? Bahelia aayega, jal bichayega, dana dalega, phasna mat. They were saying this, but they were trapped there. Bahelia aayega, jal bichayega, dana dalega, phasna mat. They were chanting this mantra. So what's the use? That was the instruction given to those pigeons to apply by the intelligence, by the brain, by understanding that there are going to be problems in your life ahead, but be prepared. Do not get lured with these material objects. Do not destroy yourself. So we hear, we listen, we try to understand it, but we get entangled. We remember everything, but we don't follow. So there is no use. We have to follow, we have to adopt, we have to understand that. Since we are not understanding, our understanding is not clear yet, that's why we get entangled. If we understand clearly that we are not this body, then we will follow these instructions. So Lord is saying that Vacham yacha mano yacha pranana yacha indriyani cha atmana atmana yacha nabhuya kalpase dhvane. In 11th canto, 16th chapter, verse 42, Krishna is saying, therefore, control your speaking, subdue your mind, conquer the life air, regulate the senses, and through purified intelligence, bring your rational faculties under control. So how you can control all these things? He is giving few examples. Control your speaking, subdue your mind, conquer the life air, regulate the senses through the intelligence. So buddhi is there, intelligence is there. Apply your intelligence, and the first thing to control the mind or to teach the mind is, Lord Krishna is saying here, is the speech. So how the speech is going to control the mind? We have been given this process. So Srila Prabhupada has given us a very thorough, perfect, and simple process by using our speech, our Vani, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if we are chanting this Maha Mantra, then it is going to cleanse our heart. It is going to cleanse our material existence. But that has to be constant chanting. It is going to train our mind now to take the proper direction. So what is the proper direction and how it is going to happen? The second thing is comes to the mind. So mind, as I mentioned, has to be trained by buddhi, that what is sat and what is asat. Sat is Lord Krishna, asat is this material world. So when we understand that there is something higher taste, then we should not worry about the lower taste. As long as we have no proper understanding about the higher taste, that's where is the problem. Since time immemorial, we have been engaged in the relishing of the lower taste. We really don't understand what is the higher taste. We go to the temple, have a darshan of the Lord, see beautiful deities of Radha Shyam Sundar, but when we come out from the temple, we really don't remember. Sometimes we don't know what dresses Lord has, what were the ornaments Lord had. We don't remember, because our attention was not there. Our attention was in the crowd somewhere. Either I was seeing someone or getting attracted with someone, either I was engaged in a chit chat with someone. So if we are seeing that perfect person, supreme person, which is the Sat, with mixing with the Asat things, then that is not going to be useful. So we have to develop, we have to know that Bhagwan is perfect, he is all attractive or powerful or knowledgeable, and he in all circumstances is going to give the protection to us, to the living entities. So we should be totally dependent upon Krishna without personal motive. Our motive should not be there. No material motive should be there, because material motives, material things, material desires, they are momentarily, they are perishable, they are ashashwat. So we should be hankering for the shashwat things, because our constitutional position is also the shashwat. So we should not be running behind the ashashwat things. Anya abhilashita shunyam gyan karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanuselanam bhakti uttama. If you want to do the uttama bhakti, then in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada has given very nice formula. This is the best definition of the bhakti. Not only bhakti, uttama bhakti. Bhakti can be many times, but bhakti uttama. What is the uttam bhakti? Anya vilashita sunyam. There should not be any other motive, whether it is internal or external, other than pleasing to Krishna. Shunyam, shunya, zero. Gyan karmadi anavritam, gyan karma, all these things. It should be uncovered with all these motives. Anukulen, it should be favorable to Krishna consciousness, and always to pleasing to Krishna. So we should think, we should train our mind that Krishna is all blissful. and we are also blissful because we are the part and parcel of Krishna. Since we have been engaged or trapped with this material objects or with these material objects or Maya since time immemorial, our Satchit Ghan Anand Swarup has been hidden, has been covered by this Maya. So we have to uncover it. We have to train our mind that who is the blissful, that is Krishna. In English, you can say only one word for Krishna, blissful. But in Hindi, you can say many in Sanskrit like Purnanand, Aparanand, Shantanand, Ghananand, Achalanand, Bodh Swarupanand, Jnana Swarupanand, Mahanandanand, Anantanand, Samanand, Achintyanand, Chinmayanand. All these qualifications are to that Anandamay Prabhu, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So if we want to achieve or get Anand, which is the bliss, then we have to achieve to the reservoir of the bliss. Only then we can get anything from there. So we need to train our mind that Krishna is blissful, and we have to establish our relationship with him. And we need to know our constitutional position that Jivera Sarupa Hai Nitya Krishna Das. So we have to understand that part. And then another thing in the process, Lord Hans is saying that we have to control our prana vayu, vital air, by doing the pranayam, so that we can focus at least for some time every day our full attention unto the beautiful forms of our pastimes of Lord Krishna. That helps our mind to be controlled and to be. So we are talking about how to separate mind from senses. So these are the processes, how we can separate our mind from the entanglement of the senses. First thing is that we have to engage our Vani in the chanting of his name. Second thing, we have to train our mind that Lord Krishna is Satchit Ghan Anand and perfectly, totally blissful. Third thing is saying that we need to control our vital airs by pranayam. And then he is saying that when we have applied proper intelligence, controlled our mind, our speech is now controlled, then the next thing is that we have to have the full faith, the Shraddha. When with constant chanting and surrendering, a devotee becomes one with Krishna. One with Krishna means when our full attention, without any deviation, one pointed is towards the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, then distinction between Atma and Paramatma vanishes. Like if you remember how Dhruva Maharaj, when he was in his meditation during his last month of his austerity, when he stopped even breathing, the entire world stopped breathing. Why? Because he has achieved oneness with Krishna. So when he stopped breathing, Lord Krishna stopped breathing. When Krishna stopped breathing, the whole world stopped breathing, because everything is happening due to Lord Supreme Person itself. So once our mind is, once our intelligence, mind, activities, they are totally focused, one pointed to Krishna, then we become, our mind become, our Atma basically becomes one with Krishna. Our full attention goes to that direction. Then he sees his constitutional position as an eternal servant of Lord Krishna. That is the time when he realizes that I'm a tiny part and parcel of Lord Shri Krishna, and our constitutional position is to serve him. So that is the realization of Chinmaya Sarup, which we are. At this stage, the distinction of sadhak, sadhan, and sadhya, three things. So meditator, who is doing the meditation, who is trying to serve to Krishna, That is sadhak. And the sadhan, the process by which he is trying to meditate upon him, whether it is chanting, whether it is serving in the deity form, or whatsoever way he is taking at that time with one and only one attention. That is the sadhan, the medium. And then the sadhya. So who is the sadhya? Who is the object of the meditation? Is Lord Krishna. So the mediator, medium, and the object of the medium, they become one. There is no distinction remains when the person achieves the perfection in his or her sadhana. So that is the thing which we need to follow. We need to pursue in our life. Once we achieve that, then achieving the supreme goal, Parayan. So we tat parayana, Lord Krishna in this sloka is in the end says that if you have controlled your intelligence, mind, and if you have developed full faith that Krishna is the only object who is the only person can protect us, is the only one is worth of taking shelter, then you become tat parayan. Tat means him, his parayan. Par means param, supreme, and ayan means home, destination, goal. So what is our destination? What is our goal? What is the resting point of our existence? The resting point of our existence is to go to Golok Vrindavan Dham, go to home, back to Godhead. So when we go to home, to back to Godhead, only then the Jivatma becomes restful. Otherwise, that Atma is going to wander in 84,000 of species of life, and there is no rest. Always there are going to be death, birth, miseries, all kind of things they are going to happen. No rest is there. So rest will be where? Parayana, supreme home, supreme destination, supreme goal. So once you achieve the supreme goal, then you are in full rest. You don't have to come back again and again in this material world. So this is the just brief description of this verse. I think I have a little more, but I think we got the full summary of this verse, that we need to understand our constitutional position. We have to train our mind, train our intelligence, mind with full faith that ultimately we are the soul, not this body. So we have to develop the Atma Buddhi, avoid from or divide from the Dehatma Buddhi, and we have to take the process how to engage our mind into the service of the Lord, how we can separate our mind from the material objects which we just discussed, and then only we can become Parayana, Param Ayan. We can take or we can achieve the full rest. That is the Ayan means home, destination. So now we are going to discuss quickly, although you will see that in the rest of the 4 or 5 verses which we are given today, you will find the explanation of those things which we just discussed. So everything is going to be said again, and we can just follow accordingly. Next is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Havi Gavi Hastini Shunichaiva Shopakecha Pandita Samadarshina. So I'm just going to read the translation. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, outcast. So here, now from here onwards, Lord Krishna is giving the characteristics or the important features of a transcendentalist who has achieved the Param Siddhi. So the Siddha Bhakta, who is self-realized, who is situated in Atma Bhava, Atma Buddhi. What is his characteristic now? the humble sages means those who are realized souls by virtue of true knowledge. True knowledge. What is the true knowledge? True knowledge is that I am the soul, I'm not the body. And Supreme Person, Sri Krishna, is the controller of this universe, he is the protector, he is the proprietor, he is the maintainer, he is the destroyer, he is the everything of this world. There is nothing beyond him. That is the true knowledge. Once that person is in this true knowledge, then in his eyes, in his mind, equal vision, a learned and a gentle Brahmana. What is that? So he has an equal mind in the learned person and a gentle Brahmana. A cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater has no distinction. 4 examples has been given here. Learned Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So learned person does not have any distinction in all these 4. Why Lord Krishna gave these 4 examples? So Brahmana is the purest living entity in our society. He is the one, Brahma Janati iti Brahmana, jo Brahma ko janta hai. The one who is the knower of the Brahma is a Brahman. And the knower of the Brahma means who is in true knowledge, is a Brahman. So that means Brahman is a worshipable not only by us, by even Lord Krishna. He respects and worships Brahmana because they are the greatest devotees. And now he is giving another example of dog eater, which are the untouchables. So one is highly worshipped person, highly regarded person in the society, and another one is the 5th caste. If you go the caste system by virtues, by activities, which Lord Krishna has described in Bhagavad Gita later on, you will see, then the dog eaters, they don't belong even the 4 varnashram or varna system. They are in the 5th system. That means they are untouchables. Even people, they don't want to touch them because of their unpious activities. So he is comparing Brahmana at one end and dog eater at another end. And then he is giving example of 3 animals. Cows, who was very pious, well worshipped animal in our society, as we know that they're not only milk, even the cow dung is used in our every Vedic rituals. So that is the highest position of the cow in the animal kingdom in our society. The elephant is in the middle of cow, and then 3rd one is the dog. So dog is the lowest in the animal society. Forget about its stool, but even the milk of the she dog, no one would like to drink, no one would like to take. So the comparison is here very contrast. One is at a very high level, another one is at a low level, whether it is a human system or animal kingdom. But the person who is in full knowledge, who is now seeing all these living entities as Atman, not as a body, he is the one who is in full knowledge. He is the one who is in true knowledge. Like Chanakya Pandit says, what is that? Matrivat paradareshu paradrabbeshu losthavat atmot sarvabhutanam yah pashyati sa pandita. Chanakya Pandit is saying that matrivat paradareshu. Who is Pandit? Who is knowledgeable? Who is the one who is virtuous with the true knowledge? Is the one who considers the ladies, the wives of others as his own mother. Except his wife, other ladies are just like his mother. In our ISKCON tradition, even we say Mataji to a little girl also. This is the training of, this is the Vedic training. which Srila Prabhupada has given us. And here you can see Chanakya Pandit is certifying that. And per Darvesh Losthavat, and anyone else's possession, wealth, is just like a raw dirt. Like if there is a wet dirt, you would not like even to step on it. You will take a side and go on your path. You will not even like to cross that. So if there is a wealth of anybody else's, just simply consider that as a losthavat. Lost means londa, mitti ka londa. That is the wet soil. And atmat sarva bhutanam. This is the point which has been said here. Atmat, in all living entities, that true knowledgeable person is going to see Atma, not the form of the body. Whether it is a Brahmana, whether it is a dog eater, whether it is a cow, elephant, dog, any one of these, they all have the similar type of soul. Atma is there. Body is different. Body is going to be destroyed today or tomorrow, but the eternal soul is in all of them. So that person sees Atma in all these things. So that is this point here. Prabhupada has explained all these things. One can read very nicely and understand without any further explanation. In 19th, then Lord Shri Krishna is saying, Ihaivatayir jita sargo esam samme isthitam mana nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmanite sthitaha. Now the second quality, next quality is mentioned here. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity. So we just discussed all these points earlier. So we have to train our mind and establish our attention single pointed. And if we are doing that, then we are going to achieve oneness with the Lord. And that's what it is saying. Sameness, oneness, and equanimity. One with Krishna. Have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. So once we achieve this situation, that our all activities from intelligence, mind, senses, speech, as we discussed earlier, they all are single-pointedly directed unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, then we conquer already the birth and death. They are flawless, like Brahmana, those people who have attained the sameness. They are flawless like a Brahman, like super soul, Atma, not the super soul, Atma. And thus they are already situated in Brahman. So they are Brahma, like a Brahma, they are Atma, and they are situated in the Atma. That means there is no distinction in Atma and Paramatma. They become like one, like a Dhruv Maharaj, which I gave you the example. So that is the characteristics of a true knowledgeable person. Another quality is na prahyashet priyam vapya no duchet prapya cha priyam sthir buddhira sammudo brahma vid brahmani sthita. So the translation is, a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the science of God, is already situated in transcendence. So this is another definition of transcendence. And these qualities we already discussed earlier. So it is just a reiteration and defining again that the person who is free from all the dualities, neither he is happy with gaining something favorable, nor he is very sad if he loses something, if something unfavorable happens, because he knows that the non-duality, when enters into his mind, into his practice, he knows that these are the material things, these are material objects, they are perishable. They are momentary things. They are not going to be attached with me. Me, it is Atma. And all these things, achievements and losses, they are the material objects. So why to lament about something which I really don't possess? Because everything at the end of our life is going to be left behind on this planet. So many people, even in front of our eyes, they took birth, they died, they didn't bring anything, they didn't take anything. We know that, but still we don't understand, like those peasants. We don't understand. We see everything, that this is the most bewildering thing, that everyone has taken birth and is going to die. But as Yudhishthir Maharaj says, that the astonishing thing is that the person himself thinks that I'm not going to die. I'm going to enjoy it. This is the most bewildering thing. And the person who is unbewildered does not have any bewilderance about all these things. And he knows the science of the God, that the Supreme Person is the absolute truth. There is nothing beyond him, is already situated in transcendence. So again, the purport Srila Prabhupada has given in a great detail. Just leaving it because of the time. And then in 21st sloka, it's Bahya isparshe swasaktatma vindyatmatni yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. So Srila Prabhupada is translating it. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure. Everything is so clear in such a simple English. There is no need of further explanation of these things. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. Within, where is the Paramatma situated, and he is seeing the supreme form, the absolute form of the Lord. He is participating in the absolute pastimes of the Lord within the heart. So what is the need, and what is the more pleasure which he is going to gain outside of the world, which is going to be just for a moment? It will appear and disappear. But the true transcendent person, he relishes, he enjoys within himself with the absolute activities of the Lord. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness for the concentration, for he concentrates on the Supreme, because he's concentrating upon the full bliss, blissful Lord Krishna. So when you are concentrating, when you are focusing onto the blissful personality, you are going to get the direct bliss from him, because you are being oneness with him. Even if you are not in oneness, even if your achievement is not up to that point, and you are still on the path of that goal achievement, you are going to get the bliss from him, like a Gandhi. You know the Gandhi, the person who sells the scents. So if you reach to that scent seller, even if you don't buy it, even if he does not give you, still you get the smell free, because you are associating with him. कबीरा संगति साधु की जो गंधी की वास, जो कछु गंधी दे नहीं तो भी वास सुवास. कबीर दास जी कहते हैं, ये ग्रेट संत, that sangati sadhuki, our association with the saintly persons is like a association with the gandhi, the one who is selling the scent. Even if you don't buy the scents from him, still you get the fragrance free. because you are associating with him. Similarly, the transcendentalist who is associating with the Lord is getting the bliss directly from him. So we should put our attention always to the association with the Lord. Very important verse Prabhupada has quoted here from Sri Yamunacharya Ji Maharaj, a great Vaishnava Acharya in our Vaishnava tradition. He says, Yad vadimam cheta Krishna pada aravinde nava nava rasadhamanya udyatam rantum asita tava tadvadi batnari sangame ismaryamane bhavati sukha vikara shushtu nishtivanam cha. The translation Prabhupada gives, since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna. Remember, anyone, whether it is a female person or male person, it doesn't matter. When that person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, Yamunacharya Maharaj is saying, realizing ever new pleasure in him. Whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl with distaste. This is the position of a transcendentalist. He just cannot think about the material enjoyment because he is enjoying the supreme pleasure of being associated with the Lord himself, Lord Krishna himself. So that's the attitude, that's the thought process, that's the activity we have to develop in our own consciousness, in our own mind. So the last one is ehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nate shuramate buddha. Lord is saying, an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. This is very clear. There is really no need of any further explanation with this verse. We already discussed about this. Yamunacharya Maharaj has already said this. So we should be very thoughtful in our activities. We need to realize we have to apply our proper intelligence, how to control our mind, how to separate it from the material objects, sense objects, how to control the mind by speech, by applying the, by controlling the vital airs, and then ultimately how we should be developing total surrenderance unto that supreme person by developing the nishtha, shraddha, faith. And then if we achieve all these qualities as the transcendentalists they achieve just by doing that, by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, remembering his pastimes, associating with his devotees, always thinking about his pastimes, then slowly and slowly we are going to become one with Krishna. That means we are not thinking anything other than Krishna. We are going to realize that rest of the things are immaterial, they are destroyable, they are ashashwat. So we should be associating with the Saswat, blissful, eternal Lord Shri Krishna. And once we achieve that, then we become Parayana, Param Ayana. We achieve the transcendental goal of our life, the ultimate rest of our life, from where we do not have to come back in this material world again and again and again. We will be liberated. So I will stop here. Sorry if I took few more minutes. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev Ji Maharaj ki jai. Vancha kalpatarvascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. It was a very, very nectarian session this evening. Hare Lila Prabhu, would you like to go first?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving us such a nectarian class, such an informative class, insight into the Prabhupada's purport that you have really realized it and has given us your input into it. Thank you so much for giving it. And I will request Mataji now to take questions if somebody have. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If any one of you have any questions or realizations from today's class that you would like to discuss with Prabhuji or ask, you can now raise your hand and I can unmute you. I guess Prabhuji, nobody had any questions from today's class.
It was too much.
The explanation itself was very, very elaborate, especially the 17th shloka that you discussed. So thank you very much for such a detailed explanation on the first shloka, which paved the path for the next 5 shlokas. We are very grateful once again that you accepted our invitation and came to enlighten us. We hope we can hear from you in the future as well. That's all I would like to say, Prabhuji.
I had no choice. Once His Grace Hari Lila Prabhu gives me the orders, then I have to follow it. It doesn't matter whether I'm going to cry or whatsoever, but I have to do it.
Yes, Prabhuji. I think Barsana Rani Mataji has a question. I will unmute her. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. You hear me?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay. Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam. Prabhuji, very, very wonderful class. And you explain about the Rupa Goswami, how he explained the Bhakti, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That's and how you explain that. That's very, very wonderful. You explain. And my question is, I heard so many verses from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but what we have, Nectar of Devotion, that has only the all explanation, but I didn't see any verses. Is there any book available, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu verses? I need to know that information about that, Prabhuji.
Yeah, there are actually. I can find out on the internet, and if you can provide your ID to Aradhana Mataji, then I will send it to you.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
It's available. It is available.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, you explain about Janati, Brahma Janati, Brahmana. So very nicely you explain. But nowadays, like people say that we are the Brahman, we born in the Brahman family and this and that, and they don't follow any rituals. It's a non-vegging food and all kind of different activities. What they are doing, their living life is so weird. I mean, doesn't look like any single qualities in there for as a Brahman. So how are we gonna explain them? It's difficult to explain them because they are so much indulging in everything, drinking and meat eating and all that. It's so difficult to explain anything to them.
I know, Mataji, this is Kali Yuga. Actually, so Lord Krishna has already very clearly, very distinctly has described this Varnashram system in Bhagavad Gita. And more to that, he has elaborated in several chapters, 3-4 chapters in 11th canto. especially the Varnashram, and even taking one ashram at a time, like Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha ashram, Banaprastha ashram, Sannyasi ashram. He has explained these things. What are the qualities? What are the characteristics of these ashram? What type of qualities one should possess when they are residing in particular ashram? So if you look around us, as you are mentioning, none of them are there. None of the single quality is in all these people. They all are Shudras. They don't follow any Vedic culture, Vedic instructions. So that's why in Vedic literature, it has been said that in Kali Yuga, all of them, every living entity, especially human beings, they are born as Sudra. So they have to develop the Brahminical culture. And we are so fortunate, so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has given us the opportunity to develop ourselves from Shudra to Brahman. And he has given us the process. Anyone who is adopting this process can definitely become a Brahmana. There is no doubt about it. We are seeing it, right? In the Western culture, so many people, they are now the liberated sannyasis. And if you look their past, they were all like these people which you are explaining. But they followed very strictly the rules and regulations given by Srila Prabhupada, and definitely they are more than a Brahmana. So one has to take up the process. Without taking the process, just taking the birth in certain caste system does not qualifies them to become a particular person. So although they can say that yes, they are, but they are not. They are not. It's a myth. And that myth is going to drown them in this material ocean. They will never be out from this bondage of birth and death. They will be entangled. Those pious souls who are going to apply their intelligence to control their mind, and they are going to separate their mind from the material senses, as we discussed, and Lord Krishna explained in this verse 17. Those definitely are going to elevate themselves at the level of transcendence, and they are going to become we have to become the Narayan Parayan, not the Maya Parayan. So it is up to us where to apply our intelligence. If we are applying our intelligence unto the lotus feet of the Lord, we are going to become the Narayan Parayan, and we will be liberated. And if we are going to apply our intelligence, if we are going to direct our mind towards the material nature, then we are going to become the Maya Parayan. And once we are already Maya Parayan, and we will become more Maya Parayan. So that means we will never get a chance to get out from this bondage.
Thank you.
Mute, Mataji.
Mataji, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. So I explained, Prabhuji, them like you born in the Brahman, that's your privilege for this life. Why didn't you develop more qualities, and develop some more qualities, which is Brahmana should have some qualities, Why you are should giving up all this slowly, and come in the Sattva Guna, in a mode of goodness, and develop good qualities and become a Brahman and nicely. And they said, oh, we don't have a time for all that and this and that and so many reasons they are giving. We have children and whatever we have, we eat and this and that. And
that is not going to help. These excuses are not going to be heard by Yamraji, who is the supreme judge of this universe, and he is very strict, very strict. He's not going to listen all these things. And his accountant, Chitragupta Maharaj, he is very accurate. He is not going to leave anything like that. Even you remember one story, you may have heard it some other time also. Lord Krishna was eating in Dwarka, and Mata Rukmini was sitting in front of him, and she was finding him, and Lord Krishna suddenly started smiling. So Mata Rukmini asked him, Bhagwan, did I do any mistake? Why are you smiling? Is there anything which I did wrong? Then Krishna said, no, my dear, you cannot do anything wrong. So she said, no, but when you smile, there has to be some reason. And some very specific reason has to be. So please, if you are kind enough, let me know why you are smiling. Then Lord says to Mata Rukmini that, Rukmini, see that ant who is going in front of you. And I'm just smiling to see him that in his past times, 4 times, he was at the position of Indra. And now again, he has become the ant. See, he was elevated up to the level of Indra, from where he could have gone to the Parayan, to its ultimate resting place. But not, because even being at the Indra's position is not going to take you to the Supreme Person's abode. You have to devote yourself in the devotional service. Only then you are going to go. Otherwise, from there you are going to thrown away again on this material planet. So even you are born in a Brahmana family, it is mercy of the Lord, and you may have done some pious activities in your past life. That's why you have been given a chance, so that you can easily elevate yourself than a dog eater, than an untouchable person. So you have more facilities. You are born in a rich family, Brahmana family, learned family, Bhakta family, so that you can elevate yourself from there. But if you are not doing that, you are going to go back again, and where you will be after this, no one knows. You will never know. It's 84,000 of a species of life. You have to cross those things, and maybe sometimes again, if Lord Krishna is merciful, you will get the human form of life, which is rare, very rare. And mercifully, we have given this form of life, so we should utilize it fully, not even, we should not think that, well, I will do it tomorrow, or I will do later on. No, later on. Tomorrow, no tomorrow. Now and right now. Whenever your senses are awakened, whenever your intelligence is awakened, whenever you got a proper association with the Lord, with the devotee, with the scriptures, and you came to the understanding that your existence is very temporary, you have to elevate your Atma up to the Paramatma. How you have to do it? Shastra has given the process. Now we discussed how Krishna is telling here in Bhagavad Gita. So we have to follow those instructions. Only then we are going to achieve our ultimate goal. Otherwise, just by saying is not going to happen. It's a very hard truth. We have to do it. We have to follow it. We have to act upon it. Kaal kare so aaj kar, aaj kare so ab, pal mein parle hoegi, bahuri karoge kab. The thing which you have to do tomorrow, you have to do today.
Today.
And the thing which you have to do today, you have to do now.
Now.
Because you never know at which moment the annihilation will come and everything will be washed out. So
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
have to act
It's
upon.
wonderful. Very wonderful to explain.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Ila Mataji, can you unmute yourself, please?
Pranam, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, everyone. You explained so deeply the steps that lead us to the higher taste. However, what my confusion is that I know that chanting takes care of everything, but we pretty much 90% of our day and the next day and the next day is engaged in material speech, association with just common people, family, and all these things. Now, to fit in all this that cleans us. Like you say, we got to constantly do all this. How is that possible? I feel like you don't forget Krishna if you've already understood him. You don't forget him if you've already conscious of him. But the activities we do are still in the material platform. How can we? I mean, is that still considered like Bhagwan is still not going to forget you, or you're not going to forget him in doing all this in our daily activities?
Mataji, it's not very difficult actually. It's very easy to associate ourselves all the time with Krishna. We have to think, even I am also a working person actually. I'm not a retired person or anything. I also work 8 to 5 every day. I'm in the university actually. And I have students, I have postdocs, I have to write manuscripts, I have to write grants, I have to do this and that, I have to teach students. All the time I'm engaged. Even at home, I have to do a lot of home from the office. But the thing is that whatever you do, you think that you are doing it for Krishna. Like Krishna, when Mataji, when Krishna can be remembered in the battlefield, Lord Krishna told Arjun that you go and fight for me. Just remember me and be engaged in the fighting. That is the whole Bhagavad Gita. So when Arjun can engage himself in fighting and remembering Krishna, why we cannot? We are not in the battlefield. We are in a different profession. So what we have to do basically, whenever we are interacting with any person, we should see that person as Krishna. When we are doing anything, we should think that we are doing it for Krishna. We are earning any money is for Krishna. It is his possession, not mine. It is the duty which we are doing, any job, anything, it is the job for Krishna. So we have to train our mind in such a way that always we have to do आत्मोत सर्वभूतानाम. सभी में हमको भगवान दिखने चाहिए. हम कोई भी काम करें, किसी भी हम अपने बच्चे को प्यार कर रहे हैं, like कृष्णा को प्यार कर रहे हैं. So we are associating with our children, our family members, our relatives, our friends, but our thought process is that we are associating with Krishna. We are loving everyone. We are maintaining everyone. We are doing all the things which we have been doing till now, and we are going to continue doing that without any deviation, without any fail. Only the deviation is of our consciousness. If we are diverting our consciousness from material things to Krishna conscious things, that's all we have to do. Like we cook our food, and if we offer to the Lord, that becomes a transcendental food that relieves us from the material bondage. But if we don't offer to the Krishna, if we eat ourselves, then it becomes pap karma. You understand that? That accumulates unpiousness in our life. Food is the same, preparation is the same, offering is the same. Lord Krishna is so merciful, even he is not taking anything away from your plate. He is returning as such the entire thing which you have given it to him. But you don't think that he has not eaten. He has eaten, because he can eat from his any senses of any parts of his body. Even if he glances at the food, that is the process of eating. So he has accepted your offering, but he is so kind, he returned everything to you. So why not to do that? This is just the shift our consciousness from one stage to another stage, one point to another point, one side to another side. You know the example of Sadan Kasai, right? He was born in a hunt, like, what do you call it? I don't remember the English meaning of the Kasai. It's like the people who kill animals. and he was selling the meat, and the weight he was using was the saligram. So he was weighing meat with salagram. Still, he was a pure devotee of the Lord. Still, salagram manifested in front of him. He gave him the pure bhakti. Why? Although he was doing his family business, but his consciousness was always engaged in remembrance of the Lord. So that's why he became devotee. This is the extreme example I can give you. So we have.
I think what I was trying to say that I know that offering, that's not a problem. If you do anything personal, it's not a problem. That you can be fully conscious of Krishna, but it's just when you have to speak with someone, and whatever is a negative reaction back to you is, why does it hurt? It shouldn't. If you're in Krishna consciousness, it shouldn't bother us in any way.
Right. Mataji, it will not bother you in any way once you reach to the point that you are not this body, you are the soul. Whatsoever the good or bad, the pleasant or unpleasant things are happening in our life, it is related to all these senses. Mind, the dictator, the great actor in our system, in our body, is the mind. Mind is the one who is feeling all these things, who is accepting all these things, whether it is a distress, whether it is a happiness, whether it is a any duality which is occurring in our surroundings, which is affecting us, is due to the mind. And you may say that if it is due to the mind, and the mind is also material thing, then why we feel stress? We means why Atma feels stress, because the Atma has been associated with the mind since time immemorial. So its effect is just going there, but ultimately it is not affecting at all. Because the mind, whatsoever activity is doing, is the energy which is coming out for any activity, all the senses, whether it is intelligence, mind, ahankar, or working of the senses, is coming from the soul. Soul is the energy reservoir. So if the soul is not giving any energy, nothing can happen. So since it is the energy reservoir and is associated with these senses for a long time, for a time immemorial, the soul started thinking that I am the mind, I am the intelligence, I am the ahankar. So when this aham, main, mera, bhav, me, mine, as long as it is going to stay, the problem is going to stay. Once we are going to be devoid from me and mine things, and we are going to separate that me and mine is nothing. It is not mine, it is not me. Me is Atma, me is soul. And these material things, they do not belong to me. The only thing which belongs to me is Krishna. When that understanding becomes very clear in our minds, then the distress, the unhappiness, if anyone is saying something wrong against us, that will not affect. As long as it is affecting, even if it is affecting, don't worry about it. Just pray to Lord Krishna that, my dear Krishna, see what is happening to me. I cannot do anything. Please, you take care. Whatsoever you want to do, you do it. I don't have anything to do about it. Then Krishna will be in charge, and he will take care.
Okay.
We don't want to become the in charge. Let Krishna be in charge. That's the point of surrenderance. Let him take care of the things.
Okay.
Because we are not the doer, he is the doer.
Okay. You are right. Thank you so much for explaining so wonderfully. I will definitely remember this in my mind. So next time something arises, for sure that I will apply. Thank you so much.
Hare Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a detailed explanation. So, Prabhuji, there is no more hand raise. If you allow, can we wind up our call here?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Hizatanan Prabhuji ki jai. Vancha kalptaru bhasya kripa sindhu bhaivacha. Patitanam pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Satyanarayan Prabhuji ki jai. Sabhi bhakton ki jai. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, once again.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.